I'm here to introduce ArchiPlay, a way to take your travel excitement to the next level. When you visit old districts in Europe, you'll constantly run into countless historic buildings. Don't just pass them by or glance at them, let's actually play with them. How do we play? We use a tool called the view filter. A view filter is a frame for looking at architecture. It creates things to see, feel, and think about. For your information, there are 10 view filter items in total. In this video, we'll use one of them called centering. Playing with old European buildings using the view filter with centering. That's the subtitle for this video. What is centering and what does it mean to play? First, let's look at centering. This is a Greek temple. Looking at this image, don't you feel a sense of balance and center? If you compare it to the image on the right, that feeling becomes even clearer. What factors determine this sense of being centered? Let's change the shape of the temple. Let's remove the triangle on top. When we do this, what happens to that sense of balance? It's not the same as before. It feels a bit weakened, doesn't it? As the element creating this difference, notice this apex point here. You could say it serves as the center for the whole structure. I believe this point influences our perception of being centered. Looking at the circle on the left, we can feel a sense of balance. This feeling comes from the single point in the very middle, the only difference between the two circles. As this point becomes the center of the circle, we perceive it as a circle with a center, a centered circle. I believe the same logic applies here. The apex becomes the center of the entire building. Through this, it approaches us as a temple with a center, and further, a centered temple. An element like this apex, which sits right in the middle and acts as a core, and further leads to the feeling of being centered. From now on, I'll call this the center point. Then, can we say this modified image isn't centered? Let's move on to a simple experiment. How about this one, where we changed the shape a bit? Would you say this is centered? Not really. What's the reason? As the image changed, one thing disappeared: symmetry. The balance where both sides are identical based on a central imaginary line is gone. Symmetry is a powerful factor. It's hard to deny that it's a key element in creating a sense of balance. This is my conclusion. Everything I've said so far can be summarized like this: a center point and symmetry. These two elements exist on the temple's exterior. Through them, the temple achieves image of being centered. Does this principle only apply to temples? Not at all. It applies to almost all buildings you'll trip over while traveling Europe, buildings that follow traditional Western styles. For convenience, in these ArchiPlay videos, we call them Western classical buildings. If we update the summary to reflect this, it looks like this: a center point and symmetry. These two elements exist on the building's exterior. Through them, the building achieves image of being centered. This specific situation unfolding on a building's exterior is a term I coined. Its name is centering. That's right. The view filter is the tool for playing with buildings, and centering is an item within that filter. That's what we're talking about. So, how do you actually play with a building using the view filter with centering? The trick, in short, is this. When you're in front of a building in Europe, pull out the view filter with centering and aim it at your target. Then check for it. See if centering is taking place. Do the center point and symmetry exist on the exterior? Does the building feel centered? Next, look for its unique character. Various methods create all sorts of centering styles. In the case of the object before your eyes, see how the centering is achieved. Look at what kind of character it gains as a result. Let's see how this actually works through an ArchiPlay simulation. Ragusa, Italy. This is the building which was erected in the 1700s. I look for it on the exterior, the center point and symmetry. I see them. It feels centered. It's hard to doubt that centering is happening here. This is a palace in Vienna. I look for it on the exterior. Center point? Yes. Symmetry? Yes. It's well centered. Centering is clearly at work here. But there's something a bit unique. Compare it to the previous building. While that one had every element of the facade working together to create one large center, this one has a middle section acting as the center, commanding two sections on either side. It's like saying, "Hey guys, come over here and stand by me." In this way, each has its own character. Another palace in Vienna. I look for it on the exterior. Center point and symmetry. They're there. But it's unusual. They don't stand out. That's likely because of a different centering method. Centering only happens in a very small part of the middle. It's not aggressive. If I were to explain it, it's a subtle style of centering, buried as if it's barely there. So, it has its own unique charm. London, England. Is it a tower or a building? Center point and symmetry. It has both. The center, no doubt about it, it's balanced. But there's a sense of tension here that's hard to find elsewhere. The entire shape stretches upward as if trying to touch the sky. It reminds me of a human pyramid. There must be two different forces at play, the force trying to center it and the force opposing that. I think the tension comes from the conflict between them. This is surely its own unique feature. An old mansion in England. I'm standing in front of one of many. I look for it. Center point and symmetry. They're there. Center, it's very well balanced. I look around, then I find something interesting. Centering is happening on all four sides of the building. Usually it happens on just the front, or the front and back. This is different. It seems very serious about centering, as if it expects a lot from it. This is a truly unique character. That's it for now. What do you think? Playing with old European buildings using centering, isn't it worth a try? It's not complicated, so anyone can do it easily. It might not be thrilling, but it's a great way to kill time. That's what I'm trying to say. Is that all? No. ArchiPlay consists of two main parts. The second part, which will give you a special experience, the so-called brain fiction time, is still to come. The point is this. Ask about the effects created by centering. Seek the answer. Use brain fiction as a tool to guide this process. A guess, based solely on one's own thoughts without objective evidence. It is truly the ultimate move of ArchiPlay. Let's see how this play actually works through a simulation. A building catches my eye. Center point and symmetry, both confirmed. Centering, I can feel it. What are you gaining through centering? As if in response, these words suddenly come to mind. A person needs to stay centered. Don't be shaken or swayed by this and that. I used to hear this like a lecture from elders long ago. I think these words can be applied to the building. I try it, and it's a perfect fit. The building before me stays centered. showing no signs of shaking or disorder. If I were to translate the resulting image into words, it could be dignity, coolness, stubbornness, firmness, rigidity, or strictness. I ask, what is gained through centering? The answer seems to have surfaced. The way I think and feel right now, isn't that one of the what's? For someone, it could be an effect. The effect brought by centering. I look around. So many buildings of the same kind catch my eye. I open my phone's photo album. I look for buildings of the same category. Then I find this building which somehow feels familiar. Vincent van Gogh. It's a building in his painting. As it turns out, this building is one of them too. Rome, Italy. It's an extraordinary building. Centering. Needless to say, it's definitely there. What is being gained through centering? The owner of the house. There must be someone who owns or occupies it. In this case, I feel an absolute ruler, like a monarch, could be the owner. I put a monarch in the owner's seat. I get a reaction. There was an image I had when I first saw the building. Dignity, coolness. This feeling grows even stronger. I try possessing myself in front of the object. I become a 12th century farmer with a pickaxe in one hand, working myself to death in the fields all day, struggling to even eat because the harvest is poor, a subject with a history of being scolded for tax arrears. I become a powerless subject who was constantly conscripted and dragged to battlefields. Then I empathize, and the image changes. Dignity turns into intimidation. Coolness turns into cruelty. These images come to me as the literal image of the monarch, and soon I even feel intimidated. I asked what is gained through centering. Isn't the answer exactly what my body is telling me now? Someone might have intended this from the start. If so, the effect is working perfectly. If many people facing the exterior feel the same state of mind as I do, that someone is fully enjoying the effect. The objects I encountered later, perhaps because of their scale, are the highlight. I feel so small. I feel like I'm experiencing the effect of centering firsthand. That's all for now. How was it? It's quite a special experience. It's more than just looking, isn't it? We've looked at the main content of playing with old European buildings using the view filter with centering. I said ArchiPlay would improve the quality of your travel. This play, using view filter with centering as a tool, could certainly do that, couldn't it? A building you would have passed by indifferently. You find yourself stopping in front of it. A facade that could have been just eye candy. You find yourself examining it from every angle. Is that all? Communication happens. Through the building, don't you connect with a certain world? And this happens through experience, not words. Wouldn't you say this is a pretty solid program? A trip supported by a program like this. Do I even need to tell you how sweet that tastes? ArchiPlay through centering is truly worth craving. It's time to wrap up. ArchiPlay. I'll leave you with a suggestion to definitely pack this for your European trip. This concludes the Western Classical Architecture Centering episode of Let's Play with Building Season 1. Thank you for watching until the end.